Thanks for sticking around. Next up, we're going to make some tomato relish. Tomato relish is really good if you just want to take something to the next step, or can even just be a dip on its own. It's pretty simple to make. All you're going to need is purple onion, centimetre of ginger, a couple of cloves of garlic, 5 ripe red tomatoes, a capsicum, I got a green one because it's cheaper, some parsley, some sugar, some vinegar, some water, and some salt and pepper. To begin with, we need to dice up our onion. Most of these ingredients will cook down a bit, but you still want to dice them reasonably small so you get a nice consistent relish. You're not going to get too much of one thing. It also helps it to cook a bit quicker as well. The reason why I'm going with red onion today is purely for the look of it. I think so much of food is what it looks like, so it's important to make sure it looks really appetizing, and this will give the relish a great colour. So if you can still manage to see where your pot is, then get your onions in. This has certainly got a bit of kick to it today. I keep fooling myself that because I cut so many onions you become accustomed to it, but I don't think it's the case. So next up, the garlic. Slice it up nice and fine. And in that goes. Make sure you put a little bit of oil in, just to stop it from catching on the bottom. And keep giving it a stir as well. Next up is your ginger. Putting just a little bit of ginger in here gives it a bit of a fresh bite, and just adds a little bit more flavour to it as well. Because it's for finger food, it's only going to be a tiny little amount, so you need to make sure it's jam-packed with flavour. So slice that up, and in that goes as well. Ginger and tomato is a really beautiful flavour combination, so it's going to be a really good relish. So next up, the star of the show, tomatoes. It's really important to buy nice tomatoes because this is the main flavour in your relish, and if you don't buy good tomatoes, then you're not going to be able to taste them, and you may as well not call it a tomato relish. So just dice these up. You want these to be fairly small. So you just want this on a low to medium heat. You want it to be cooking, but you don't want it to catch on the bottom. So low to medium. If you're worried it's too hot, turn it down. It's just going to take a little bit longer. So when you're finally done dicing, give it all a stir and just let that keep cooking down. You can already smell all the beautiful flavours, the garlic, the ginger, the onions. And we just want to let all that liquid cook out now. So it's really important when you cut your tomatoes to make sure you get all the juice off your board into your pot as well, because all that flavour is going to cook into the relish. Next up, capsicum. Make sure you get all your pith out of here because potentially it could make your relish bitter. Use all of the capsicum. There's no need just to throw your ends away. Just takes a little bit longer to cut up. So when you cut up your capsicum, make it quite a bit smaller than your tomato. It does take a little bit longer to cook, but also you don't want to have too much capsicum in each mouthful. So this will mean that it's all spread out. I made sure that I'd have a nice sharp knife for today because I knew I had a bit of dicing ahead of me. I couldn't have done it with another blunt knife. If you're into spicy things as well, this is a perfect dish to add chili to. But, you know, if you're serving this to a whole crowd of people, it's probably better to leave it out. In goes your capsicum. And then we've almost got a relish. So stir it through, and now we can start looking at adding some more ingredients. So now it's time to add some sugar. For a batch this big, I would add about a tablespoon, not too much. And some salt. Some pepper. And finally, some fresh parsley. It's not finally, actually. And actually, finally, some vinegar. About 2 tablespoons. Give it a stir, and now we just want to let this cook down for about 25 minutes, just until most of the liquid has evaporated. So our tomato relish is cooked now. You can see it's thickened up beautifully, but it's still got all those beautiful textures in there, and it smells and tastes absolutely amazing. But being our grand finale, we're going to take it a little step further, and we're going to do some scallops wrapped in prosciutto. Then we'll put that on top at the end. To make these, all you need is scallops and prosciutto. So let's get started. So take your slice of prosciutto and then slice it into 3. Then take your scallop, wrap it around. With any luck, it's the right height. You want to let those sit there for a while because you want the prosciutto to stick to itself so it won't fall off when you're cooking. So now that they're all dressed for the party, time to get in the pan. So a nice hot pan and some beautiful fresh olive oil. The secret to cooking scallops is the heat. You have to have a really hot pan, and it's good to have a very flat base as well, and not too much oil. So there's a few secrets. In they go. You should be able to hear them sear like that straight away. So they won't take long, about a minute to a minute and a half either side. So if they're not too hot, I can just turn that with my finger. And that is looking pretty magnificent. So a minute and a half either side in a really hot heat. Now, when you're serving party food, it's really important to present it well. So always get your finest crockery out for the occasion. I can never find one in the shops that I like enough. I always tend to make them myself, get it just right. So out they come. And these, you can't tell me that these don't look pretty impressive. Well, I don't know what animals were getting about in 1990, but must be extinct now because I haven't seen anything that looks like that. But you must admit, impressive crockery. But our main feature today, and to finish our dish off, a little bit of tomato relish on each. Well, they look pretty fantastic, and they taste even better than they look. But I better serve them while it's still hot. But stick around, because coming up next, my world famous caramel slice. It's worth the wait.